Welcome to the St. Lucian Analyzer, your choice for the critical, data-driven research analysis of the challenges facing St. Lucia. Go ahead and give us a like or follow on Facebook, Medium, or Twitter. If you'd like to contribute to the St. Lucian Analyzer, email us stlucia.analyzer with an S, not a Z, at gmail.com. Celebrating Sir Arthur Lewis's economic work. It was great to see Google's feature of Sir Arthur Lewis as the Doodle on their homepage on December 10th, 2020. As St. Lucians, we should be very proud of the world-renowned work that Sir Arthur Lewis accomplished. Arthur Lewis's article entitled Economic Development with Unlimited Supplies of Labor, published in the Manchester School in May 1954, is widely regarded as the single most influential contribution to the establishment of development economics as an academic discipline. Let us take a look at some of the key points outlined in Sir Arthur Lewis's work and how it may apply to St. Lucia. Sir Arthur Lewis introduced the dual sector model, commonly known as the Lewis model. In this model, when an economy first becomes industrialized, it grows very fast by importing foreign technology and employing capital and plentiful, cheap, unskilled labor from the farm. But after a while, the extra agricultural labor is put to work and wages start to rise. This makes firms less profitable, and they have to come up with their own technology to keep growing. This shift is known as the Lewis turning point. The important feature of the Lewis model is that the economy consists of two sectors, an agricultural, rural, and subsistence sector, and an industrial, urban, and capitalist sector. In the subsistence sector, the population is so large relative to products and natural resources that the marginal productivity of labor in the subsistence sector is very low or zero, resulting in a potential reservoir of labor supply to the capitalist sector. In the St. Lucian context, this means that there is a large pool of workers available for the tourism industry and can be clearly seen with our perpetually high unemployment rate. Then, the labor market is in favor of capitalists, and capitalists can keep the wages constant. This is what is observed in St. Lucia, with the low wages paid to hotel workers relative to the costs to the hotel guests. It is assumed that eventually surplus labor would be absorbed, and then wages would eventually rise, though we are yet to see this in the St. Lucia case. Profit-minded capitalists are assumed to reinvest all profits to create new capital at a maximum rate. Then, capital expansion leads to new employment. The capital accumulation becomes larger, but the wage is still constant, so that the surplus becomes greater. Full investment and an unlimited labor supply guarantee that both capital accumulation and employment expand at the maximum rate. However, in the case of St. Lucia, given that the majority of the quote, capitalists, end quote, are foreigners, they do not reinvest all the profits into St. Lucia and transfer these profits to their other projects or initiatives in foreign countries. Therefore, the capital expansion does not lead to the expected increase in employment. The Lewis model has been useful in explaining the growth paths observed within the Asian economic miracle, such as Hong Kong, Singapore, Taiwan, and South Korea, which resulted from a mobilization of resources consistent with the Lewis model. In initial stage, they took foreign technology and used cheap labor and capital. Eventually, they ran out of cheap labor and reached a point of diminishing returns to adding more capital, and growth slowed. More recently, the Lewis model has regained relevance in relation to China's economy, which has projected to reach the Lewis turning point between 2020 and 2025. Sadly, the Lewis model has not been used effectively in the Caribbean, including in St. Lucia, and while there has been a transition away from agriculture, We have not effectively added capital due to the short-sightedness of our leaders. As a result, there has not been a significant increase of the living standard that was expected, resulting in higher poverty rates. Since Sir Arthur Lewis's death almost 30 years ago, our economy has transitioned from an agriculture-based economy to primarily a tourist-dominated economy, where the major economic gains from our primarily foreign-owned hotels do not benefit the island. I wonder what Sir Arthur Lewis would think of this model of economic development and his recommendations. Has our current Prime Minister, who supposedly has a degree in economics, ever reviewed Sir Arthur Lewis's economic papers, including the proposed model for robust and sustainable economic growth within developing countries? Given the economic stagnation that is projected to occur due to COVID-19, where our 2016 GDP is equal to the projected 2022 GDP, we need to review our model and projections for economic growth. We cannot allow our standard of living to plummet and be saddled with high debt that becomes a significant burden for future generations. If you like what you heard, please reach out to us, stlucia.analyzer with an S, not a Z, at gmail.com with any suggested topics for future articles. Thank you for listening to us today, and we look forward to you tuning in again.